Hello and welcome to my 6th video on Visual Basic Programming. In this video, I'll be starting on Windows Forms programming. So let's go ahead and get started. Click on your old solution and let's create a new project. Alright, so here we are. So the first thing we're going to do is go all the way over to the Solution Explorer and then right click on your solution, click Add, and New Project. Now you want to select, what you want to do is you want to select here Visual Basic, and then Classic Desktop if you're on 2015, or Windows if you're on 2013. Next, go ahead and select Windows Forms Application. So once you click that, go down here and let's name this, let's name it something descriptive like, or let's just do Windows Forms example. Or actually, let's make it an example. Let's make it calculator, because that's what we're going to do. Calculator. Alright. So once you're done, click OK. Alright, so welcome to Windows Forms. As you can see, you have a nice looking little form here. Instead of that old command line, you have a real window. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some stuff. This is going to be a super simple application just to get you started on Windows Forms. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how the Properties window works. And let's go to the Properties window. This is selecting the form right now. So the Properties window here has these things in categories, but I prefer it in alphabetical because I personally think it's easier to find. Alright, so let's get started. First of all, every single component you have has a name. For example, this form has the name Form 1. So if you take a look here, it says Form 1 up here, and this form, if I click on it, if I go to this Properties, you'll see that the name is Form 1. Alright, let's go through some of the more common ones, like auto size, we won't go over. Control box. Control box for the form means whether or not you have the icon and the little buttons where you can close it. Now, I want the control box, so as you can see, it's back. Alright, so let's see. The text is something important. That's basically what the form will say. So now if I write in here, calculator, it'll write in here, calculator. I spelled it wrong. Alright, so this calculator won't be like the normal Windows calculator, which looks like this. Instead, it'll be just a simple text box and a text box where you can add stuff. So super simple and only meant for educational purposes, not for actual stuff. So let's go ahead and click on the toolbox and look for Windows Forms. All Windows Forms. Right click on it and then, or actually left click on it, and then go down until you find text box. Let's see, text box. Right here. Drag and drop the text box on your form, and then we're going to change some settings about it. First of all, we're going to put it right over here. Let's resize it to something like this. That looks about right. And then, let's go to the Properties window. Properties, and then let's go down to the text value, and we can put in some default text in here. Let's put in 5. Now you can duplicate this by going to right click it, then click on copy, then paste it on here. There you have it. So we're going to drag and drop this over here. Then we're going to go over to the toolbox, and we can search from this search bar right on top. So I'm going to search for, I'm going to search up a label. the label's right at the top, but just for fun, I'm going to show you. I'm going to label, and so the label will come up right at the top, right there. You can drag and drop it where you want it. I want it right there. Now if we want to change the text of this label, go to the Properties window, and then go down until you find Text. Here we go. So I'm going to put this as a plus sign. So as you can see, it's now a plus sign. Now I'm going to drag and drop this until it's properly aligned with all of them. And I want to raise this up slightly. You can use the arrow keys for precision movements. Alright, so there we are. I'm going to go ahead and change this into full screen. I think it's easier to see with full screen. Alright, here we go. So now that we have these two things, we want to have a couple more things to make it look nicer. First of all, let's make the background of this a white, because this old, ugly looking background looks like Windows 98 here. Now, we want it to look more modernish, so let's make it white. Alright, here we are. In Windows 10, it'll automatically be turned into white, so don't worry about that too much. Alright, so going to the toolbox, let's create another label. This is going to be our answer label. So let's go down until we find text, and we're going to say answer, and put a colon there. And okay, there you go. So here is our answer label. So the last thing we need is a button to do the actual calculation. So let's put it all the way at the bottom, and let's make it big. You can size it using these things right on the side, and put it until the last text box over there, and let's label this, or change the text of it to calculate. There we go. Alright, back over here, as you can see, it says calculate now. Now that this is done, we can move on to resizing the actual form itself, because this is way too big. So go ahead and size it up, and then our final part is actually naming these different text boxes and stuff. Because when you're coding, each of these kind of they act like kind of like variables. They have unique names, and they can be accessed through those unique names. So we need to put a nice name instead of textbox1. The default is textbox1. If you look all the way up here, it says textbox1. Then system.windows.forms.textbox, blah blah blah. It's just a text box. Basically, that's all it means. And then we're going to change this from textbox1 to, let's name it txtnum1, since this is the first number. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select the second one, and we're going to call this one txtnum2. Now, there's the plus sign over here. You can name it something descriptive like LBL sign, but you don't always need to, because for good practice you should always name the things, but you probably don't need to do it if it's just a simple label like this. But because this is supposed to be better for later things, I'm going to name this LBL sign, but you don't necessarily have to do this one. Alright, so this one is going to be LBL answer now. LBL answer. And finally, the calculate button, which is going to be BTN, and then calculate. And there you go. We've just created our Windows form. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the actual coding of it. So to go to the code, you can either double-click on these objects. Any of these objects will do, except that it's probably better to double-click on the calculate, because when you double-click on an object, it'll create the default event that is with this. So an event is basically that, let's say a button click event, which is if you click on the button, something will happen. So if we double-click on the button, you'll arrive in the code. So let's go ahead and start. This is supposed to add them up and then it's going to display the answer. So first of all, remember that our two numbers are located in txtnum1. This is txtnum1 over here, and this is txtnum2. So let's go ahead and put that into the code. So let's create an answer variable. Let's make this an integer. Let's make this equal to txtnum1 dot text plus txtnum2 dot text. And there we have it. Now to display it, instead of writing console.writeLine, what you should do instead is we're going to do the txt answer label, or in the LBL answer dot text is going to be equal to, the first step is writing answer, then the colon, then put a space inside it, and then we want the answer. Now if we run the program, you'll have LBL answered, which is the answer right here, actually display the answer itself. Alright, so let's get started. Go to project and click on set a startup project, and then let's run it. Once the build is complete, you'll arrive on the form. So here we are. Alright, so here is our form. Now the default values are here, but we can change it. Let's create 10, and let's make this 25. If you calculate, you'll get your answer, 1025. 1025, that is not right. Okay, so here's our problem. This is a text. It's actually combining the text. So we need to change this to an integer, or to a number of some kind. We need to do text dot to, or better yet, let's actually create a variable with this. That's the easiest method I can see here. The problem is that it's actually looking at it as text. That's why you get a weird answer. So let's go ahead and write in dim num1 as integer is equal to txt num1.text. Then dim num2 as integer is equal to txt num2.text. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to put in let's delete this entire line here, and let's do num1 plus num2. Now if we run this program, you'll see that you get the real answer. If you look now, it says 10. 5 plus 5 is 10. Instead of that weird stuff. Instead of saying 55, it'll say 10. So let's change this to other things, and you'll see it says 35. So this, as you can see, is a really nice approach to programming, because you have a graphical interface that you can easily edit. And this is really useful for creating more things that are more complex. And the thing is that a graphical user interface is a lot better looking than a command line. So another thing I want to show you is there are other events associated with these. For example, the default for the text is a text box change event, or text change event. So whenever the text changes, it'll automatically do something, or whatever you say. So I'm going to do it for the second text box actually. Let's just copy and paste all this in. Automatically give you an answer. Now what we want to do is we want to say on error resume next. What that means is that if there's an error, just ignore it and keep going, basically. That's what it means. So now if we run this program, we can actually change the text here. Alright, so once we type, it'll automatically give the answer. But if there's an error like this, as you can see, I got rid of this thing altogether, that's an error. But it'll keep going. Alright, here you go. So now you don't actually need the calculate button at all. So in fact, we can actually get rid of the calculate button altogether. So let's go ahead and select this entire thing, and then delete it. And we can actually delete the calculate button as well. You should always delete the code first, by the way. Alright, so that's done. Now you have a fully functional calculator that you can use without even having to press the calculate button. 15 plus, let's do 2000. Now if you take a look, answer is 2015. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And see you next time.